Hello there guys, welcome to my new channel, Katumi Giveaways. This channel is all about me giving stuff away. Now we're going to kick off by giving away a few games, that kind of thing, but over time we are going to give away more and more expensive luxury items. So I'm thinking maybe like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X when they come out at the end of the year. Things like a sim racing rig. I quite like the idea of giving one of those away. At the moment, that ain't going to happen. We're going to start off with cheap stuff first, and I'll explain how I'm going to fund this, and then you'll understand the idea behind this growing over time. But eventually, I really want to give away stuff like cars and holidays and luxury gadgets. That's what I want to give away, and it is something I've really wanted to do for a really long time. I never imagined doing it on YouTube, but because of my Katumi 74 gaming channel, I figured it just makes so much sense to do it on YouTube, and it's easier as well. It's like I can just say to people, leave a comment on the video, I can press a button on a bit of software, it can randomly choose someone who's left a comment, and they'll be the winner, and then I can just give them whatever it is I'm giving away on that particular video. So it's a really easy logistic thing to do. But I always liked the idea of giving stuff away just like in the real world, like approaching somebody and giving them something. So on this video, I want to share a couple of stories with you. I want to share what happened the very first time I gave something away, because that situation is really the catalyst for wanting to do this. And if that had never happened, I probably wouldn't be creating this channel at all. So I want to tell you that experience because it was a really profound experience to have. And I want to share that with you. I want to share a couple of other little giveaway things with you as well. And I'm sort of hoping that when you hear them, you might start doing them yourself because they feel pretty good. And I want to talk about how I'm going to fund this. So I'm going to talk about the funding first of all. There's two ways that I plan on funding giving stuff away. So obviously I've got to buy the stuff to give away. So the first way, about 2 months ago, someone sent me an email and they were asking me a question, and it was to do with promoting things on Twitter. It's like I have a lot to do with helping people promote affiliate products and that kind of thing. I run several businesses online to try and help people make money through the internet. And someone asked me this question about promoting things on Twitter. And it got me to thinking that it's like the problem this person, I'm not going to go into detail as to what it was, but the problem they had, I knew a way to fix that problem. I knew a solution for it. It would take me a while and there was a lot of coding involved, but I could create a product that would solve their problem. So that gave me the idea for a product. And to create the product took about 6 weeks of coding. But once I'd finished I say once I'd finished it, I'd got a couple of really small things to do, which are going to take me maybe the next couple of days. But once I've done those, this is something that I've never got to think about again. It's completely automated. I'm never going to have to think about it. And the entire work took me about 6 weeks, give or take. And we're on lockdown anyway, so it gave me something to do. I like programming. So for the past several weeks, I've been sat at my computer creating this product that solves the problem that this person had. And I was thinking, this product provides value to people that want to do what this person's doing. I can sell this product on a monthly membership, like subscription basis, and it can provide a completely passive income. So this idea of giving things away is something I've wanted to do for a long time, but obviously you've got to buy the stuff. And I suddenly realized this business never used to exist. It weren't even an idea 2 months ago. So now I'm about to launch it. It's going to provide me with a completely passive income. I might as well take that money and use it to buy stuff that I'm going to give away through this channel. So that's kind of the first way that I'm planning to fund this. So this is why we're starting off with cheap stuff. I've only just started the business. I haven't got loads of subscribers paying me monthly yet, but it will grow over time. So as the business grows and the income grows, I'll buy more expensive stuff to give away. So that's how it's going to build over time. Now, the second way that I'm going to fund this, and the more obvious way, is if this channel becomes popular, then I'll monetize it. Now, in order to do that, I need 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of watch time over a year. I think it might be 4,000 hours, something like that. 2,000 or 4,000 hours, I'm not sure, but I've got to get a certain amount of watch time within a 12-month period and also 1,000 subscribers. And once I've done that, I can actually monetize this channel And then the videos that I'm, where I'm telling you what I'm giving away, they'll have adverts on them and I'll get an income from it. So that income then can also be used to buy more expensive things. So that's the plan. And I absolutely believe that over time, both of those things will provide an increasing income so I can buy more expensive things to give away. But to kick off, it's just going to be games. Okay, don't expect anything fancy for a little while. It is just going to be games. But if you subscribe and you click on that little bell thing so you get a notification of when there is a video, as the channel is just starting out, if you pop over to the giveaway videos and you pop in a comment on the video, there's a piece of software, right? I just press a button and it randomly picks somebody from the comments. And then that person's the winner and I send them whatever that prize is. Now, obviously, this channel's new. I don't have many subscribers, so you'll have quite a high chance of winning whatever it is I'm giving away. But as the channel grows, obviously the chance of you being picked as a winner is going to be reduced. But if you are picked as a winner, the thing you're going to win is going to be something much better because I'm going to be giving away much more expensive things. So that's sort of the plan. That's how I want this venture to unfold. So I want to share with you now an experience that I had many, many years ago. And it's the first time I gave away anything of a significant value. And the way that made me feel was the catalyst for this. So after that experience, I'll tell you the experience in a moment, but after that experience, I was thinking, I just want to give stuff away. It feels really good. And what I was thinking about doing is stuff like just parking a brand new car on someone's driveway with a ribbon on it or something, and getting the logbook and all that stuff and the keys, putting it inside an envelope, and then writing a little letter explaining what's going on, saying I've randomly picked you, putting it through their letterbox, and in the morning when they come downstairs, they would have a brand new car. Now, they'd have no idea where it came from or anything. I wouldn't need to go and talk to them or anything like that. I'd just give it to them. And I love the idea of doing things like that. So that's what I want to do in the future. But where this all came from, years and years ago, this was when, it was actually when the iPhone 5 was released, because it was buying the iPhone 5 that started me on this sort of journey. I had previously an iPod Touch. I'd had a few iPod Touches, and I used to use them in place of a phone because I always worked from home. So I was always in my Wi-Fi area. So I could just use my iPod Touch pretty much like a phone. I didn't really need a phone, so I never had one. I didn't need one. And then I just bought a new iPod Touch. I'd had it for a couple of weeks. It was pretty much in brand new condition. And the iPhone 5 came out. And I saw a promotion for it. I thought, that's a really bloody good deal. And the more I looked at the phone, the more I liked it. So I ordered one. It arrived a few days later. And I took my iPod Touch and I went into my kitchen, I opened the drawer and I went to throw it in the drawer. And just before I let go of it, I looked in the drawer and there was an old Nokia in there. And there were various bits of like obsolete technology. And I was thinking to myself, when I put that phone in that drawer, there were various different things in there. But when I put them in there, they were valuable. They were worth stuff to people. It was like, it weren't even just my stuff in there. It was my girlfriend at the time. Some of her stuff was in there as well. And I thought, all of this stuff is worthless now. You wouldn't even sell one of these, whatever it was, for like a tenner. It's worthless. Nobody wants it. But when we put it in the drawer, it would have been valuable to someone. And I thought, I'm not going to let that happen to this iPod Touch. I'm not going to put it in the drawer and let it become obsolete technology over time, just gathering dust. I'm going to give it away. Now, obviously, I did think I could sell it on eBay. I could probably sell it for a couple of £100 at the time. It was a top spec iPod Touch at the time when the iPhone 5 came out. So they were selling on eBay for about £200. So I could have sold it. And I was thinking to myself, if I sell it, within a few weeks, I will have squandered the money on coffee and pastries and, this and that. And it just would have gone and I'd have nothing to show for it. If I put it in the drawer, I'm not going to get any money. It'll just be gone in a small amount of time anyway. So I decided just to give it away. So I took the iPod Touch, I went into the town centre, and at the time I lived in Nuneaton, in the Midlands, in England. I went into the town centre and I went to various different shops that actually sell the iPod Touch, looking for someone who might want to buy one. And I was going to approach them and I was going to say, hey, it's your lucky day. I'm giving away an iPod Touch. I've picked you as the winner. Here you go. So that was the intention. So I went marching downtown thinking I'm going to give this away. And I kind of felt a little bit good about myself. I went into a few shops, looked at a few people, and I thought, should I give it to him? Should I give it to her? I almost approached a couple of people in shops and in the street. And every time I went to approach someone, it was like a massive adrenaline rush. I mean, my heart was pumping. Now, I have no problem talking to strangers. I have no problem talking to groups of people or anything. I've done various jobs over the years where it's required me to be on stage in front of people performing. So I don't have any problem with that. I don't have stage fright. I'm not socially awkward or anything. I was when I was very young, but I certainly am not anymore. So I expected to just walk up to somebody and give them the iPod Touch, like, congratulations, this is yours. And then when I actually tried to do it, it was such a weird, nerve-wracking experience. It's like my hands were sweaty. It's like my heart was pounding. It's like, I remember when I was at school, I was socially awkward, and if you had to stand up and read in class and you got like your mouth went dry and a lump in your throat and your heart beating, you could feel it in your face, that's exactly how I felt. So just trying to approach someone to say, here, I want to give this, this gadget to you, it brought all those feelings back. It was a really weird experience. But anyway, I went into, what's that shop? CEX. It's like, I don't know what the C stands for, but I think the shop is it Entertainment Exchange? Something like that? But they call it Sex now, with a C, not with an S. Perhaps that's the idea. It's so people think of sex. But anyway, I went into there, and there was a guy, he looked like, I don't know, late 30s, maybe early 40s, and there was a girl with him, about 9 years old. I'm assuming it was his daughter, I'm pretty certain it was. And they were looking at the iPod Touch. And he was saying stuff like, oh, maybe we'll see at Christmas. They're very expensive. I'm not sure. He was saying all that kind of stuff. And she was kind of trying to sell him on the idea of buying the iPod Touch. She was saying why it was so good, why it was a brilliant idea, all the stuff that it could do, and that kind of thing. So that's the general conversation they were having. And I was sort of like, in the second-hand Xbox games bit, sort of like behind like a row of games, sort of eavesdropping on their conversation, listening to them. And I kind of paced it up and down a little bit. And I thought, right, these are the people, this is who I've chosen, I'm going to give it to this dude. I kind of walked up to him, I was seriously nervous. And I says, all right, mate, are you interested in the iPod Touch? And he goes, no, we're okay, mate. And I think he thought I worked there to begin with. And I was like, no. I says, look, I've got an iPod Touch. Are you thinking about buying one? And he kind of was trying to fob me off. He was trying to get rid of me. I've got no idea what he thought I was doing, but he's trying to get rid of me. And I was like, look, I pulled it out of my pocket. And I says, look, I've got an iPod Touch. And I pulled my iPhone out. And I says, well, I've just bought an iPhone. I says, I don't need this anymore. And rather than like selling it on eBay or whatever, I've decided just to give it away. So I want to give it to you. And at that point, he sort of clicked that, hang on a minute, this guy's not trying to rip me off or whatever, trying to sell me anything. And he sort of realised what was going on. He's like, you what, mate? Are you serious? And I pressed the button to turn it on, and it was on, I'd reset it. It was on the beginning screen where it says welcome. And I says, look, it's completely reset. It's just like a new one. And you can have it. I says, I don't want anything for it. I says, I told him what happened. I said, I almost threw it into a drawer in my kitchen, and I saw all the other old technology in there, and I don't want this to go in that drawer and become obsolete, because at the moment it's valuable, it's worth something, but if I had put it in that drawer, in a couple of years' time it'd be worth nothing. So I decided just to give it away, and I saw you talking about the iPod Touch, so I've decided to give it to you. And I looked at his daughter, and his daughter was just over here, and the whole time I was talking, she was just like, her mouth was just dropped open, her eyes were massive, and she was just looking at me, looking at him, looking at me, looking at the iPod Touch, and almost salivating about it. And it kind of, I can't remember how the conversation went, it was like a bit of a daze, but I sort of went into tunnel vision, and I was very aware that although I couldn't see them, there were people around me sort of, it was almost like the rest of the shoppers had sort of started to realise something unusual was going on, and they started to gather round. So there was a bit of a crowd forming around us, and people were starting to listen to our conversation. And that sort of made me even more nervous. And I gave it to him, and I left the shop, and as I walked out of the shop, I heard someone say, he goes, bloody hell, mate, you was in the right place at the right time. And I sort of floated out of the shop. It was such a buzz. It was like my hands were tingling. It was like a massive dopamine rush. And I looked back. No one was looking at me. I'd sort of slipped out unnoticed. But the crowd of people had sort of gathered around the guy, and everyone was going, "Oh, good on you, mate," and stuff like this. And it just felt absolutely incredible. It was like there was no way I could have possibly imagined it would feel that good. I didn't expect it to feel good at all. I wasn't doing it with the intention of it being anything for me. I just thought, I'll give this away. It just felt like a charitable, nice thing to do. It felt like I was being altruistic. But when I gave it away and I got that feeling from it, I suddenly realised something really important, right? I could have sold it on eBay for a couple of £100, and I just would have spent that money on God knows what over the next couple of weeks, and I'd have nothing to show for it. Just as I said earlier, I'd have probably spent it on coffee. And it's like giving it to that guy and seeing the reaction from him and from his daughter and hearing what the people in the shop said, that gave me a feeling that you cannot just go and buy. No, I mean, you can't just walk up to a place and give them some money and they give you a feeling or an experience. That doesn't happen. And that feeling didn't go away. It was with me for a really long time. And I mean, this is years and years ago. It's when the iPhone 5 came out. I don't know what year it was, but that'll kind of like pinpoint it for you. It was just when the iPhone 5 was released. But even today, when I think about that experience and I think about that girl's face and I think about the conversation they might have had when they got home and they were, talking to the girl's mum and saying what had happened and stuff, when I think about that stuff, I'll get it now. I'll get that feeling back. And it's like, that's priceless. And giving stuff away does that to you. And I've given stuff away since. I'm not going to talk about all of the situations. That was just the first one, so I wanted to share it with you. But the other things that I've given away since then, always stuff just to people in the street, never like kind of using the platform that I want to do now. But every single time it's had that same sort of feeling to it. I'm going to tell you about one other experience because this is something that's really cheap and really easy to do. It makes you feel good, and I'm kind of hoping that some of you guys do it. I used to work in Birmingham. I had an office in Brum, and I used to travel up the M6 toll road every single day. So I'd pay the toll booth in the morning and in the evening on my way home. I always went that way because I was always late and that road's always empty. Every single time I went through that toll booth, I think it was about £2 or something for a car. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But I always used to pay double. And I used to say, I'm paying for the person behind me as well, every single time. Now, that's not even one coffee. It's like, for whatever price that was, it was a couple of quid, you're not even going to get a coffee and a Danish pastry for that price. So it's such a tiny amount of money. And I just used to pretend in my head, that's how much it costs to drive through the toll. So I pay for me and the person behind, and that's just a standard to me. It became like a normal thing to do every morning, every evening. And I'd be driving to work, and I'd be thinking about the person behind me when they pull up to the toll booth and the guy says, you've already been paid for, the person in front paid for you. And it's like, unless they thought I was a creepy stalker and it terrified them, which I'm hoping it didn't, it's like that would have made that person's day. It really would have done. It's like, you have no idea what's going on in that person's life. They could have been having a really shitty day. They might have been having, arguments with a partner or whatever. They could have been going to work feeling depressed. And then all of a sudden, this act of random kindness changes their day. And that will change their mood throughout the entire of that day. And that spreads on. There's a kind of little poem. It's like, I can't remember the actual poem, but it's to do with smiling. And it's like you smile at someone and they smile, and then they smile at someone else, and it passes on and passes on. It's a really nice little poem, but it's the same kind of idea. It's a random act of kindness to a complete stranger that is going to change that person's day, and it will make them be nicer to other people. It's going to just uplift them a little bit. And hopefully the interactions that they have throughout that day are affected by that. So that feeling of knowing that you'd been the beginning of that chain of happiness that's going to spread out throughout that day that otherwise didn't exist, just for the sake of £2, for less than the price of a coffee, I'd drive to work with a big smile on my face, thinking about the way that person now feels and the way their day's going to go, simply because I paid for their toll thing on the M6. And it was such a tiny little thing, but I realised very quickly that the feeling I am getting from doing something that cost me £2, I value it a lot higher than £2. So at the beginning, it started off as being something that I was going to do to be nice. And then in my head, I sort of justified the price by saying, I'm just going to pretend that it's £4 for me or whatever the double was for my car. And then it got to the point where it was like, right, here's my money and here's a couple of quid for the car behind. I'm buying the sensation of feeling really good because of what's going to happen when they arrive at the toll booth window. It's paid for and I'm completely transforming their day. So that felt good. So yeah, for a long time, I've wanted to give stuff away because when I did it previously, it felt good, but I've never been in a financial position where I've been able to do that. So the thing I said earlier about the new business, that is going to support it. Hopefully over this time, this channel can be monetized or sponsored or whatever, and that will support it as well. Who knows, in the future, people might send me stuff to give away, just almost to promote their stuff. You know, they might send me an item, get me to do a review on it, talk about it, and then just give it away to a subscriber. That'd be pretty cool. I have no idea if this channel could go in that direction, but I'd certainly like it if it did. But there we go. That's what I want to do with this channel. That's the plans for the channel going forward. That's the way I'm going to fund it. And that's also where it came from. That's where the idea came from and the desire to do this. As I've said several times, it's something that I've wanted to do for a really, really long time. I'd never considered doing it through YouTube, but because of my Katumi 74 channel, I've got quite a lot of subscribers on there. My videos get quite a lot of views. And I was thinking that can be used as kind of like a kickstart to this idea of giving stuff away. I can do it through YouTube. Every video I put on that channel now, I can sort of promote this one and say, get yourselves over here. This can grow. Hopefully, over time, it generates an income. That money can be used to buy more expensive things. And I can give more and more expensive things away. Before I close this video, I just want to share something else with you. There's a guy that I follow. His name's Andrew Reynolds, and I was at an event of his. He's a businessman, and I follow a lot of his work to do with business. And I was at an event of his at the O2 in London, and he gave away his car, and his car was a Bentley Continental GT worth a shitload of money. And all he did, he had Bradley Walsh on stage, and he raffled it. Bradley picked out the ticket and stuff, and he just raffled it to a seat number. And I mean, it was at the end of a long weekend of a business seminar, and he did it on the Sunday evening. And the first 3 or 4 tickets that they pulled out, those people had gone home, so they missed out. But the ticket that he pulled out where the guy actually won, it was just this guy from the Philippines. And he actually sold the car, and he bought his mum a house in the Philippines with the money, and he bought himself a more sensible car for him to use in London, which is where he actually lives, even though his family's from the Philippines. So that gesture totally transformed that guy's life. It was incredible. And I would love to be able to do giveaways on that level, on the same level that Andrew does. I would love to be able to take this to that level. So if I can get to a place where I'm giving away stuff like, you know, Bentley GT Continentals, I will be a very happy chappy. So subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell, and when you get a notification say I've uploaded a video, get over here, leave a comment. Well, watch the video, because it might not just be leave a comment. There might be things that you actually need to do, like a code word you need to put in or whatever. I'm not sure logistically how it's going to work yet, but I am aware that I can just click a button on a bit of software and it's going to randomly pull someone out of my comments. That person will be the winner, and then I'll just send whatever it is to you. So that's the idea for the channel. Thank you for coming here and watching this video and supporting the channel. I would very much appreciate it if you could share it around. The bigger it gets, the better, because the bigger it gets, the more expensive stuff I can give away. And I can give away stuff more often. To begin with, it'll just be games every now and then. But if the business makes a lot of money, and if this channel gets monetized and starts to make a lot of money, I can give away much more expensive things. I can give away things more often, and I can also give away multiple things. So I can say, right, I'm giving away 10 PlayStation 5s to 10 people that leave comments, and I'll just randomly pick you. So there we go. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the bell button, leave a comment on this video, share it around, and hopefully sometime in the not too distant future, I'm going to be sending some gift to you if you are a winner. Take care and have an awesome day. Bye bye.